destroyed because of this freak. I won't allow it! These babies just saved this lame fest party!
What's going on? You are listening to This Week in Geek.net. I'm your host, Mike the Birdman, but I'm not alone as well. Summer's finally turning into fall, and not a day too goddamn soon as far as I'm concerned. I'm joined with my brother from the lovely city of Kitchener, Ontario, Canada.
Alex, the producer.
Yeah, it is unusually warm out right now, but it's really cool in the morning, so it's not too bad.
I took out my AC last week out of the living room, and I was like, because it was raining, and I'm like, okay, it's now we're in pretty much in fall, and it's like I don't want to keep it in forever. I took it out. 2 days later, it got to be 26 degrees and humid again, and I've not wanted to be out in the living room outside of cooking at all. I was like ready to take out my AC from the bedroom, and I was like, I'll leave it a day or two. That thing is staying in there until October now. Like this, yeah. I have never ever had to keep an AC running in a bedroom past the second week of September, except for this year.
I think last year we had our air conditioning in till like second or third week of October. I mean, it's warm. I mean, it's not too bad in terms of temperature, but it's hot in the sun, and I wear hoodies all the time because it's just easier for me to transport gear and shit.
It's not overly hot, but it is very humid.
Yeah, it's not great, but hey, I'm usually outside anyway, so it's usually not too bad. So hey, that means I get a few more weeks in my wheelchair to go around and explore. So overall, not too bad.
Yeah, and me leaving the one in the living room out, I've had the window open for the most part. What's been good about that, at least, is I'm getting finally fresh air, because not only has it been in longer, I think I put the AC in April this year because it was so hot already.
Yeah, we had a very warm summer this year. So
I guess enough old people talk.
Yeah, exactly. Enough of us talking about the weather. So yeah, as we most often do, we typically start the show off with a little bit of news from our personal lives. And this one was kind of cool. This one I literally found out about over the weekend. So last year I had a very cool experience with the WWE, and I got a chance to go see Money in the Bank down in Toronto. Obviously, it was a whole kind of rigmarole to get it to happen, but the reporter who covered it, who's become a friend of mine, Spencer Turcotte, turns out he won a major award. That was a provincial award, but now I think he competes against the rest of Canada. I'm not 100% sure, but it's the radio and television. It's like a local news. It's like a newscast award. So CTV Kitchener won Best Local Newscast, and they also won Best Feature Story. And that feature story was me and Cody Rhodes. The story was called American Nightmare Becomes Canadian Dream.
Well, that's nice.
And yeah, that was really cool. Like Spencer.
And you know what, though? When I saw that it says, Best Local Newscast, I was thinking, well, there's Toronto. And now there's Kitchener. There's not that many other local newscasts anymore that aren't. Thanks, big media, for shutting down most newsrooms. But
yeah.
But I mean, it is nice that it's nice that somebody in Ontario outside of Toronto won. Like, because you never really hear about Ottawa winning, because Ottawa has the news, but it's still Toronto's like the anchor station for like 90% of the province, right? Mm-hmm. And of course there is London. I joke and I kid, but yeah, like it is nice to see that CKCO still gets some recognition now and then when they put on a good program.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Now Spencer had told me he was nominated earlier in the year, and I just kind of would text him every now. I'm like, hey man, what's kind of going on? He's like, yeah, we don't know yet, but yeah, evidently the award happened over the weekend, and yeah, he won. He texted me, and I've actually been in contact with my friend over at WWE, the one of the directors of PR. He's like, hey, that's really awesome. Thanks for letting us know. And he's like, hey, you should stay in touch. I'm like,
and you know what? That's awesome. But also, you know that the PR guys they'll send an email or a text over to Cody and let him know that it made the news, because they always want to keep track on what each of their superstars are doing, right?
Yeah, so that's really cool. So like, I actually got somebody had commented on Reddit on the thread that I posted out like a year ago, and like, because I tend to avoid Reddit outside of like Transformers, Lorcana, and some Dungeons and Dragons shit. I don't go anywhere where it's weird.
I will occasionally, if I have a weird question that I want to answer, I'll just check on Reddit. Reddit was tracked down. One time I actually asked something. They tracked down who the hosts were for WUTV Buffalo's Fox 29's. When they had that attempt for a couple of years of trying to copy YTV's PJ program.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah,
the guy's name was Craig something. And they had their own robot television he talked to that was like Kmart version of SNIT. And I was like, what the heck is this? I don't remember. Was that Buffalo? And then a bunch of Americans popped up and they're like, hello, Canadian friend. We shall help Buffalo natives. Here you go, buddy. And I was like, oh my God, Reddit is amazing. And then immediately after that, I was like, what's the next thing I can look at? And it was some horrible murderous thing that popped up in horrible people. And I went, oh no, Reddit is the internet. Reddit is the internet is the best description I can give.
Yeah, like sometimes like I'll go on there and look up weird stuff, or I'll look up, things relating to stuff I don't want to ask about on social media. Just as like, I don't need that drama or heat, and I'll get some interesting responses.
It is the best site to lurk at or to have a throwaway account while still maintaining the feeling that you're not skeevy for asking.
Yeah, like although before I pass it over to you, so there's a channel that I watch. And I think it's obviously on YouTube, but I think his channel is called The Review. Not very original, but he does this kind of like a segment, and he'll talk about 5 failed cartoons from a certain year.
I throw a lot of his stuff on the background when I'm doing emails and stuff.
Yeah, so I was watching it literally late one night, like last week.
Can I guess what it is?
What?
Late last night. Or late last week?
Yeah.
Was it the one that popped up with dinosaurs?
Yes. I had thought I had hallucinated that as a child. So there was a show on TV called The Adventures of T-Rex, featuring dinosaurs wearing power armor who are part of a boy band. And I remember flipping through that.
Okay, I had that on. I had a moment where it felt like my heart stopped, because I went, oh, wait. That's not just a random episode of Denver the Last Dinosaur that I thought existed. It was a whole show.
Yeah, like I actually went to the guy's channel and I posted like, you've just solved a question I've been looking for 30 years. Because I can remember the morning that I saw it. It was a Sunday morning at my parents' place. I found it on a random transponder channel, but I went by it too fast, so I couldn't remember what transponder channel it was on. So I saw like 2 seconds of it, and it was
probably like a syndicated channel from Indiana or something.
Yeah, it was so fucking bizarre, but I'm like, thank you for solving that, dude. Like, I am so incredibly grateful to you for putting that little piece of my mythos to rest. So,
because weirdly,
that was pretty cool.
It's likely part of like, you can find it on Wikipedia, but have you noticed that if you try to search, like, they'll have categories where it's like, every 80s or 90s animated program on for American television, but you'll go there, sometimes the shows actually won't be in the list, and then you have to search for them manually, or you'll find it listed under the production of some other company, but it will still be grayed out, like they never made a proper page for it. And that, I think, is one of those shows that if it's there, it's so buried that you'd have to know what to look for.
Yeah, like I had no idea what this thing was called for, like I said, literally decades. So when I found it, I was like, "Oh my God, it's fucking real!" So I'm tremendously thankful.
I quite literally, when I was watching it, I was like, wait a minute. In my head, I thought it was an episode of Denver the Last Dinosaur where Denver was having a dream about those. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, why would I ever thought that? And it's probably because I saw like one or two episodes randomly, and I think Denver was on like, if you had bunny ears, it was the kind of thing you picked up on an old UHF station or wherever. A lot of those syndicated shows that weren't part of like the major networks or very early Nickelodeon or YTV, it was so random what they aired on, right? Like it could be like a station like in Aurelia here. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be like a regular major market.
Yeah, like it's just one of those shows that ran for like 65 episodes. I think it got a full syndication package, but yeah, I was like, that's cool. Thanks for solving that mystery.
It's like Beverly Hills Teens. So many people remember it, but don't remember what it was.
Exactly. Other than that happened to me this week. Went back to volunteering at my local food bank. That was pretty good. Obviously enjoyed doing that. Obviously lovely drive here in the morning in Guelph. I guess a big thing to mention is tomorrow in Canada is National Truth and Reconciliation Day for Indigenous people. Not a national holiday. Federal employees get it off, but nobody else does. There's
holiday.
been some, basically it's that. And well, I'd say it's a holiday off for postal workers, but they're striking right now.
Okay, this is me being dumb, and also because it's still a fairly new quote unquote holiday. I was wondering why disability checks went out early.
Yeah, exactly. So
because I was like, why is that stuff going on? Like when it was like my parents who are getting pension, they're like, my pension came in early, and I was like, why would that be? I don't think it's a holiday. Stupid me. It is. It's just that it's still not established enough that it's ingrained in my head.
Yeah. So tomorrow I'll be going up to Fergus, which is a town not too far from where I am, and I'll be participating in ceremony and a conversation with an Indigenous elder. And, it should be an interesting time. I was asked by a local radio station to participate in an interview. Unfortunately, they haven't got stuff together, so I'm not going to single them out. So hopefully I'll have a conversation and say, hey, if you're going to do truth and reconciliation, don't make it last minute. Please plan ahead. My time is valuable. And if you really care, you would have done this ahead of time. So that's all I'm going to say on that, on that kind of soapbox. Other than that though, it's been a good week. So, as of what I'm working on for review right now, Konami sent over a code for Silent Hill F. I'm playing through that. First impressions. This is fucking weird. It's Silent Hill. Of course it is. It's weird. I like it. It's different than other Silent Hill games I've played for sure. Because I haven't played one since like the Silent Hill 2 remake a couple years ago. And the game that I'm going to be talking about today, you're going to hear in the show today. I've been playing, Ubisoft sent over a copy of Star Wars Outlaws Gold Edition for the Nintendo Switch 2. So I'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the show. So now that I've been rambling on for a little bit, what have you been up to?
I have been catching up on a lot of the reviews. Like I had been playing games, and there's a bunch that sort of came out at the same time as seems to happen. Like if you notice, things get grouped together where a lot of games come out at the end of August. A lot of games come out at the beginning of June. A lot of games come out in like March, and a lot of games come out in October. And I've had a bunch that I've been working on. We'll be having a review show later on this week to cover some of the smaller titles that we couldn't get in here. But most recently, and I can say what I've been playing now, because some of them, it's funny when some of the embargoes are like, you can't even say that you've got the game. It's like, but I wanna. I can say this. I've been playing Final Fantasy Tactics. That came sort of last minute, as you know, it came a few days before it's officially launched. So I've been playing that. I also have there's a lot of RPGs that I played in the last couple of weeks. But as for this show, I can say that I've been playing, or had been playing, Ghosts of Yotei. That's going to be in this show. We actually got it fairly early. So I was able to, thankfully, Sony gave it to me early enough and had the confidence that, we weren't going to be one of those people that leaks things, because I can't stand that. Let me get on my soapbox. I can't stand it when somebody gets a review code early and then they leak things. That pisses me off.
Yeah,
because
I mean, it hurts all of us.
Well, and I'm going to say this. Most games, if you get them early, don't have their day one patch yet. So you can't really evaluate what the user experience is going to be till the patch comes out. A lot of times, a day one patch does not mean released on the day one. Day one patch means the retail version of the game. And that usually comes within the last week or so before a game comes out. Sometimes it's down to the wire, like really close. But in this case, I can say this, that I received, I think, like 3 game updates while I was playing it, because we received the game almost a month early.
Yeah.
And that's when most other reviewers were probably getting it. Because I can say this, it is about a 60-hour game. And that's regardless of what difficulty you play it at. If you're going to do I would say, quote unquote, completionist run, or mostly completionist. So it is pretty rare to get a game that early. And usually when you do, it's in not the greatest condition, performance wise. That's not the case here. I can say this right now. The performance is great. So I've been playing that, but that's a 60-hour game. I've had I can say this now. I had the Digimon Time Stranger RPG at the same time. I've had a few other games that we're going to get reviews out either this week or next week for. And that's pretty much been consuming a lot of my, spare time. Is if you're juggling like 3 games that are 60 hours or more, that's pretty much what I've been doing for a week, right?
Yeah, you're not going outside much.
No, I've wanted to go to the movies and do things, and they just haven't worked out. But I'm gonna see what's playing on Friday, because I've been kind of delaying and been kind of lazy and slow moving. I've got my diabetic blood work and stuff that it's supposed to have been done a few weeks ago. And I'm like, you know what? It's the lab is right next to the movie theater. So I'm going to plan when I have some free time, either at the end of this week, we'll see what's out, and I'll go get my blood work done, then go over and see some sort of movie, because there have been a few that have come out that I've wanted to see, just haven't gotten really around to it. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show, but obviously I saw Toxic Avenger. Trying to think, what else did I see recently?
Have you seen The Long Walk yet?
No, I had to cancel a trip for that because I wasn't feeling the greatest. I do want to see it. I did see the Demon Slayer movie. That was good. That was fully packed. And that's pretty much been it as far as, going out and doing stuff. I've gone to visit family back and forth to my mom's to help her out still, because it's going to be a few more weeks so she can do like heavy lifting of anything. And that's pretty much been it, man. It's been like a lot of juggling games and review items and that, and having a good time, obviously, but like I get a little burnt out. So I took the last like 2 days and did nothing. And I mean like nothing. I was like, I'm going to sleep when I feel like I'm tired. I'm going to reset my brain so that I'm not in full game mode, because I already know that come October, November, we're going to be busy again.
Yeah. So yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about in this show. Like I said, Alex has Ghost of Yotei. We also have something else coming up to us in this show. I can't remember what review I'm going to put here outside of Star Wars Outlaws. So I'll remember when I'm editing this show. As a radio.
Well, I can probably tell you what we've got going in here, because you've been a busy boy when it comes to reviews over the last little bit. So I know we have plenty of stuff coming for you, but as far as in the show, like I said, Ghost of Yotei is sort of the bigger release, definitely, as far as like big news goes. As far as you said the Star Wars Outlaws, right?
Yep.
So you got Star Wars Outlaws, you got that, and your other review is a Shark Vacuum.
Oh yeah, our good friends over at Shark Ninja sent over something, which again is pretty neat. So we're going to talk about that. Plus we got Ghost of Yotei. Plus we do have some breaking news. Alex doesn't even know what I'm talking about yet, but we'll break that news because not a lot is known about it, but it's coming officially from the Walt Disney Company and 20th Century Fox, from what I can tell. So looks good. Anyway, I'll break that news to you right after this, but this is going to be my review of Star Wars Outlaws on the Nintendo Switch 2. We'll be back, guys, right after this, only on thisweekingeek.net.
Kay Vess, the underworld's favorite new scoundrel. This is your one shot. A safe filled with 157 million credits. And I can get you inside.
Get in. How about getting out? This job, it's a death wish.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. I'm here to talk about something we got sent from our friends over at Ubisoft. They sent over a review copy of Star Wars Outlaws on the Nintendo Switch. Now, Alex and I both took a look at this game last year, so I'm not going to bore you with the details. TLDR, you play a criminal, but you're a nice person at the end of the day, named Kay Vess. You have your cute little kind of a your dog thing named Nix, and you're trying to make your way through the Star Wars galaxy with the criminal underworld. The game is set between, I want to say, like Empire and Jedi. It's honestly pretty kick-ass. I really enjoy it. Storyline-wise, it's pretty awesome. Now, this is a port of a game that came out on Xbox Series X, PC, and PlayStation 5. I played the Xbox Series X version last year, and I had a really good time with it. Now, what does this mean for the Nintendo Switch 2 version, as this is a port of a game that was running on superior hardware? I actually didn't notice a lot of difference. Like, I'm not one of those, oh, it didn't run at 60 frames a second, oh my god, sacrifice it to the Sarlacc pit. No, honestly, it worked pretty good. I didn't have any major complaints, plus you're getting all of the DLC for the game, except for the digital art book and like some of the cosmetic stuff. That's not really going to make a difference. I mean, if you want to drop the couple bucks on it, yeah, sure, I guess, why not? But you don't need to. It's honestly not really kind of worth it. I'd say for a Switch 2 port, I think it's really good. Probably one of the better games I've played on the Switch 2. Kind of makes me wonder what CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk would be like on the Switch too. So maybe I'll have to pick that up at some point. But no, Star Wars Outlaws feels pretty good. It's a different game than it was like a year ago. Like, they've done a lot of patches to address things like the stealth missions, which were ultimately a huge pain in the ass. Plus some of the gunplay's been changed up. I feel like Speeder Bike feels a little bit tighter. That was my biggest complaint when I played this game last year. But just, it feels better, or I've gotten better, or maybe I just prefer the Switch 2's Pro Controller to my Xbox Series X. I don't quite remember. But no, seriously, this is a pretty solid port. If you don't have this game on like any other console, yeah, I think this is a pretty solid pickup for your library. So if you've ever wanted to not wield a lightsaber for a change, but instead go in blasters blasting, and if you like using a cute little alien guy to help rob people, trust me, it's more fun than what it sounds. Then seriously, I think you should pick up Star Wars Outlaws for the Nintendo Switch 2. I think it's a fantastic port and definitely worth your time to travel to a galaxy far, far away.
You want to live? Get in with the underworld's most dangerous syndicates. And pull off the greatest heist the Outer Rim has ever seen.
I'm in.
The Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
Gossip, rumors, panic in the streets. We're lucky.
This Week in Geek.
News.
Welcome back to This Week in Geek. You just heard me. As you can guess, I'm Mike. He's Alex. It is now time to break us into the Nerd News Network, only on thisweekingeek.net. So literally happening moments ago, as of this recording, Variety.com, along with multiple outlets, is reporting that the Simpsons movie sequel has been announced for summer 2027 as the release date. According to Variety, Doe, Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie will return to the big screen in 2027. The Simpsons 2, officially in the works at Disney's 20th Century, is slated to release in theaters in July 23rd, 2027. The film has taken the place of an untitled Marvel project, which was removed from the studio schedule. Disney and 20th Century haven't confirmed any plot details, but shared the poster on Instagram, which featured the signature pink donut and the tagline, "Homer's coming back for seconds."
Now, do we get another video game where we hear him go double jump over and over again?
See, I want to believe they're doing this in good faith. I don't think they are.
I think this is a matter of them going. Well, there's a few things. I think the good faith argument is I think this. I don't know if this will end the series, but I think they're thinking far enough ahead. In 2 years' time, the actors are getting older. Some of them are starting to pass away or possibly retire or not be able to do the voices. If they don't do it to coincide with what would be close to the 40th anniversary, I don't know if they could. I don't know if they couldn't plan again for another major milestone because their choices are in 2 years or probably in 5 years, and there's no guarantee in 5 years that it'll be viable to do so. I'm just checking right now. I know The Simpsons started in '88, the original, like the main show, right?
Yeah.
'89. It was December '89. But what I'm trying to see is when did the Tracy Ullman stuff start with them?
87, maybe?
The Simpsons franchise, The Simpsons shorts started in '87, so it would be the 40th anniversary of when. So that don't be surprised if that plays a part into it. Again, I don't know. They already filmed. Was it last year they made one of the best episodes they've made in probably 15 years, and that was they made the series finale.
Yeah,
where they showed off, and it's not the goal is to not retcon it with a different ending. The idea was here is the arc we're going to have to finish the storylines of all the characters. They're going to have closure, and whenever we choose to actually end the show, we're going to refer you to this episode as the actual finale, which is an interesting idea to do with a show that you don't know when it's going to end. So I it could be the final thing that they make, or it could be just a celebration of 40 years, but it's very clear now, if it's summer of 2027, it's being used as the 40th anniversary special.
Yeah. Now, I'm a lot more cynical about this because Disney and ABC, I don't need to tell you they've had some problems in recent weeks. I don't think it's coincidence that we got the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer last week, and I don't think the timing for this is coincidence either. Now, obviously, things between ABC and Nexstar, Sinclair, and all that nonsense has been more or less settled, but still, Fallout is still happening. I do see this as a little bit of goodwill damage control, but still, I'm gonna hope I'm not right, but it's a little hard not to read between the lines considering what's happened in the news over the last few weeks. And that's all I'm really going to kind of say about it.
What I would wonder is how much of this is to do with this or is it to do with that? And how much of this is to do with whatever disastrous project they had to pull?
My guess is it's probably the Blade movie because that's been in development hell for since 2019.
That is what I'm thinking. Like if it's not, people are automatically going to assume, oh, they pulled an animated project. No. They are never going to pull an animated project because animated projects, unless it's a Pixar movie that costs $100 million, there is no animated Marvel project that has cost anywhere near what a theatrical budget usually is.
I'm about to say, unless I did like theatrical X-Men 97, which will never happen, which would be awesome.
Wouldn't be that like it would a pure proper 3D animated movie theatrically, they are never going to pull it. No. They will find a way to make it work. So it would have to have been a 2D animated movie and like zombies or something. And they're not going to pull that. They're just going to throw it. They're going to lower the budget, pull it from theatrical run and throw it on streaming. Plus.
Yeah.
So for them to have pulled something, it has to be a live action, and they're already going full steam ahead with what is it, like Fantastic Four did well, I think, and
it did okay. It had a disappointing return, mostly because it suffered an 80% drop off in its second week.
But it's because Superman was doing well.
Well, I mean, this is a discussion maybe for me and JT, but very quickly, the superhero fatigue I think is somewhat real and somewhat not, because Superman did good numbers, but it didn't do Aquaman numbers, because we're used to having these billion-dollar superhero movies, and it hasn't happened in a while.
And the
maybe
the
Deadpool, momentum
momentum essentially ended not at Endgame. Momentum ended with Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, which was arguably the last really good one. Now, people like Thunderbolts, but it needed to make 500 million to break even with all the marketing and all the promotional push.
There have been, it's not to say there haven't been good movies, but the momentum, during the pandemic, we actually received closure with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And because like that, and that was, we got closure, and it's not just that we got closure, we got, between Spider-Man and Deadpool and Wolverine, we got closure. Millennials and younger Gen X and older millennials, and even it's into the younger millennials, got the closure of what they have been wanting and seeing for essentially 24 years or so. Right? Like we got to see the full arc of what we've wanted to see from the X-Men and Wolverine. And we got to see, because you're a little older, but for me, Spider-Man came out when I was like 15 or 14.
Yeah, Spider-Man was like a date movie for me and my girlfriend at the time. So
and X-Men came out when I was 13.
Yep.
So like for me, like I was the prime age, and I got to see, I'm getting close to middle age, and I finally got to see the closure of everything, or at least, it doesn't mean we weren't left wanting more, but I feel like that was the momentum, and also just the quality and the heart involved was more. Those movies didn't have a lot of the special effects issues that other Marvel and DC movies have had, either way too much poor quality special effects because they're rushed or trying to do too much with it, or looked muddy and washed out, like all the Snyder stuff. Like it's hard to strike the balance of everything, and those movies did. They struck it perfectly, essentially. Yeah. And I feel like whatever they're working on, it's probably Blade got pulled, because they've been very quiet on that, to the point where they weren't even like, they've been quiet even with the Arcane video game. They're making that Blade video game, right? Why has there been nothing else about that in like a year?
Yeah. I mean, to swing this background to The Simpsons for a second.
Yeah.
When you think about other projects that could be done from the stable of the animation studios, I'm not surprised we didn't get a Bob's Burgers movie again, because the first one, I'll be honest with you, I didn't much care for. I don't think there's enough steam in. As much as American Dad is funny, no, I don't see anything happening with Family Guy theatrically anyway, streaming only.
Family Guy one would only work in so much as if it was a Family Guy American Dad crossover movie, specifically to spoof when the Jetsons met the Flintstones.
I could see that. And I think
but I don't feel it would be theatrical. I think that would be a big Hulu event.
Yeah, which now that Hulu doesn't effectively exist, it'd be like
or Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It would only work, I think, if it was a cavalcade. You know how they did the crossover with The Simpsons on regular TV years ago? Yeah. It would work if it was hey, here's the joke. It's all of the old Fox shows banding together for a big movie, and the idea is to get Disney's attention.
See, I think that'd be pretty funny to have like Napoleon Dynamite and Alan Gregory and all these obscure shitty shows.
It would it would be like John Lovett's The Critic, and it would be all of the show, all of the adult animated shows, Duckman, and like everything that was produced. Was that Warner? Maybe.
I think that was UPN. So yeah,
UPN. Basically, any of the shows that Fox put on, The Critic. There were a couple others that were on there, maybe like The Tick or something, and but it would have to be all the ones that they own. And that maybe appeared on The Simpsons or whatever, but all the 90s and early 2000s Cleveland Show, all this stuff, you have all of them, and the joke behind it is they all realize that they're irrelevant, being brushed under the rug by Disney, and they have to make a movie together to make money. Save our IP, essentially, the movie.
You know what?
Sort of like how like Rescue Rangers kind of was.
Yeah. You know what might work? I would love to see it happen because the reboot surprised the hell out of me. King of the Hill. And if you made that a serious family dramedy comedy movie, like, basically keep the same writing that King of the Hill is really known for. If you did, and the event would be Bobby's wedding to Connie, that might be interesting.
If they do that.
If they do that.
Because I as a kid didn't really get it. Like, to me, that show was boring when I was a kid. Because again, I was too, like, when I was the age when that show started, I was Bobby's age.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not really a show for me. I was like, this show's kind of slow. It's not like The Simpsons. I'm not laughing. It's not South Park. I'm not giggling because it's naughty. And it became the show that when it was off the air after so many years, I was watching occasionally in reruns. It got memeified, lots of clips on YouTube, and I started to appreciate it much, much more. It's much more of an adult comedy than, what quote unquote The Simpsons is supposed to be. It's an adult animated show. No, it really is you could film it as a live action thing because it's basically a proper sitcom or dramedy, just happens to be animated, and it's made for mature adults. And I went back now and watched a bunch of episodes, and when the new season came out, I watched it and I was like, this is the first time that a show has returned. And I will say this, Futurama did and has had a pretty consistent run when they've brought it back. It's still funny. It's not maybe quite as funny as it was when they did the couple TV movies that brought it back the first time. That was funny. This new third time that they brought it back, it's still funny, but not the same. This feels like they never stopped writing it.
Yeah, like
my guess it was that spot on. But that being said, what would work then? Instead of the Jetsons-y sort of thing, it would work if it was the anchor of it was Futurama.
I can see that.
And you have Farnsworth come out and make his Farnsworth reality, blah 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 blah, and it's basically he breaks the multiverse, and the joke can be again, like this is a multiverse thing again. He breaks the multiverse, and all the characters from all the different Fox shows end up having to be mishmashed, and they have to figure out a way to put themselves back together.
I mean, I hope the Simpsons movie, when it comes out, is successful. My guess is we'll see a trailer probably Christmas 2026. That's when we'll see our first trailer.
Either that, or if Disney decides to do did they do that event this year that they usually do?
D23. There was some kind of celebration, but no,
they usually did a Comic-Con, but I don't think they did anything. Now, my biggest concern is Marge going to be able to do the voice? Because you've heard her in the last 4 or 5 years. She's having a hard time doing the voice, and it's not against her. It's just that's a very gravelly voice to do when you're in your late 70s or something, or whatever she is, right?
Yeah, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the VO is already written and it's already recorded, and they're just waiting to animate it.
That is usually they do the voices to the animation, but with a movie of this caliber, they could easily do the voices and then do the animation.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. So we're going to move on to our next story. This one comes courtesy of bloodydisgusting.com. We first saw this, I want to say, during the PlayStation State of Play a little while ago, but we finally got an extended look at this. Halloween the game stocks consoles and PCs next September. So according to Bloody Disgusting, the countdown is on for IllFonic and Gun Interactive's Halloween. During the Sony State of Play, the teams announced that the asymmetric stealth horror game will launch on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PC via Steam, Epic Game Store on September 8th, 2026. Alongside the release date announcement, a brand new gameplay trailer, which you can view below, which I'll talk about. It says, death comes to Haddonfield in Halloween, a chilling tribute to the iconic John Carpenter classic film. Survive or slay across tense streets and dark corners of Haddonfield in this asymmetrical horror sandbox, taking on the role of either a desperate civilian or the infamous Michael Myers himself. In each high-stakes cat-and-mouse match, every decision means life or death. As a civilian, protect the townsfolk by guiding them to safety, scavenging for weapons and supplies, and finding a phone to call the police before it's too late. Danger lurks around every corner. Survival depends on strategy, teamwork, and quick thinking. Meanwhile, Michael Myers stalks the shadows using terrifying abilities like shape jump to move unseen across the map and strike without warning in a heart-pounding experience. Quote, our goal is to push the horror experience to the next level with single and multiplayer mode so the players can get the most out of the game, said Jarrett Getson, CEO of Ilphonic. Whether they become the boogeyman or fight to protect Michael Myers' victims, Halloween promises an unforgettable battle of fear in survivals. In addition, the game will feature a motion capture from the original Michael Myers himself, Nick Castle. This is Friday the 13th reskinned. Now, me and Liam, a very close friend of the show and pretty much family, we were looking at this. We're like, how is this not Friday the 13th? Maybe they've taken a couple of notes from Predator Hunting Ground and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, but when we saw the shape shift ability, like, that's the Jason teleport. Who gives a shit? Now, it looks cool. I'm not going to deny this.
Those styles of games are basically dead to me because they only last 6 months, and then after that they're dead because they're fads. Like, they're the worst fads.
I would argue that, mostly because I spent a lot of time in the Friday the 13th community. The problem with the Halloween franchise one, because I know you're not much of a horror movie guy, so allow me to lore dump for just a few minutes.
Well, wasn't there a Texas Chainsaw one that was garbage too?
Yeah, and that died very quickly, mostly because there was a lack of maps. And the killers, outside of the established core from the family, they introduced a few new people, but nobody gave a shit. The problem with this one, I think, is it's Haddonfield. Okay, cool. Great. I get it. There's going to be some iconic locations like the Myers house, Laurie Strode's house, and all the other survivors from the first movie. But unless the map reconfigures itself and those locations are static, okay, cool. I get it. Sure. What other maps do you have? I mean, maybe the hospital from number 2, maybe Haddonfield as a town from 4 and 5, maybe the farmhouse, like Sheriff Brackett's house or something. Like, there's just not a lot there. And if it's only Nick Castle doing the motion capture, Nick Castle came back for the last set of Halloween movies, and
I'm not house in the one with Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, there's that too. I mean, like, there's just not a depth of the franchise there.
And wasn't there a Killer Clowns from Outer Space game like this too?
There was, and that game died very, very quickly because, again, cool idea to base an IP off of, but not at $60.
The only one that works for me is Nightmare on Elm Street, because you could have a randomly generated map because you can argue that it's the dream world shaping around you.
Yeah, and Dead by Daylight has got a huge community. Their maps are different. You get a huge variety of killers and survivors, and that community is hardcore. Friday the 13th, we got a variety of different maps, but we also had a variety of different Jasons and survivors. From this one, they've only shown us Nick Castle. Again, I'm not harping on the guy, but for Friday the 13th, we had so many different Jasons. We had Kane Hodder Jason, we had Savini Jason, the early Jasons, we had Sackhead, we got the early Mask, we got the one from part 4, Zombie Jason, we even had the fake Jason in Roy, who was the ambulance driver. And again, so many different maps, and they were even planning to do a map on the Grendel spaceship from Jason X, and had that game continued, we probably would have got a map from the 2009 reboot as well. So again, Friday the 13th has a lot more lore and an interest in it. I said, I'm not against this because I know the Akkad family who runs a lot of the Halloween stuff. They're very protective of the IP. So if I was going to trust any developer to do it, I would trust Gun Media and Ilphonic.
It won't last more than 6 months. I'm telling you right now. It's unfortunate, but
There's nothing there. There's nothing.
This game style is more of a flash in the pan than any other live service game. It's been proven over and over again. It doesn't work. There's room for maybe 1 or 2 games like this. The one that you mentioned, was it Dead by Daylight? You're not going to get Nicolas Cage in this.
Yeah, no.
You know who you're going to get? You're going to get Paul Rudd as like a meme cameo, and it will last for 2 weeks.
And I'm honestly surprised Jamie Lee Curtis hasn't signed off on this yet.
No, she won't sign off on. I mean, if they pay her money.
And yet she'll do fucking Borderlands. But
Borderlands paid a hell of a lot more money than this is going to pay her.
Yeah, it's like I said, I would love for this to be successful, but again, Camp Crystal Lake is a lot more interesting than Haddonfield. Now, Friday the 13th had a vibrant community. It also had the virtual cabin. Now, they do mention single player in this. So maybe you play through the movies, because Friday the 13th introduced a single player campaign later, and it was fun, but once you beat it, whatever, right? So, and one of the big problems with Friday the 13th, which hopefully Gun Media will fucking learn this time, is make your game playable offline. Because for Friday the 13th right now, you can still play the game offline, yes, but you can't connect to the servers, which means your data, which says all your unlocks, all your whatever, you can't access. So you can play the base game with about 3 characters. It's bullshit. And all they could do is they could literally throw it a patch and say, hey, we're unlocking everything offline, have fun. They didn't do that. Major oversight. So I've got some concerns with this, but we'll wait and see. I'm sure we'll see much more in the next 6-7 months. But anyway, next story, a little bit happier. This one comes courtesy of superherohype.com. Once again, continuing with Marvel news. X-Men 97 and Marvel's hit Spider-Man show get exciting release plans. Brad Winderbaum, the head of streaming television and animation at Marvel Studios, provided details about the release plans of future seasons of X-Men 97, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and Marvel Zombies. The first show premiered on Disney Plus on March 20th, 2024, while the second series came out on January 29th, 2025. The sophomore season of both shows are expected to debut in 2026. As for Marvel Zombies, it started streaming with all 4 episodes on September 24th, 2025, which I just watched. New seasons of X-Men 97 and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man are to release every year. Winderbaum stated during a new interview with Discussing Film that Marvel intends to release new seasons of its animated shows annually. When asked about what strategy fans can expect going forward on the animation side, the executive responded, "What's exciting about the next few years that we're going to get subsequent seasons of X-Men 97 and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on an annual cadence." Winderbaum elaborated, so every year there will be a new season and we can map out longer arc to those stories. Given that the third season of both shows are currently in development, that means they can come out in 2027. Winderbaum's comment also indicates that these shows can go beyond season 3. This isn't the first time Winderbaum has spoken about the annual release part. He told Collider in February of 2025 that X-Men 97 and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man were, quote, top priorities in trying to get a good place where we can reliably have very strong seasons every year. In the same interview with Discussing Film, Winderbaum reflected on how Marvel Zombies, the studio's latest release, fits the above-mentioned release edge. He replied, a single standalone epic adventure that Brian Andrews wanted to make of. I mean, the lore is very rich. There are stories we can talk about all the time. We know where they are. They just didn't align with this particular story. Winderbaum proceeded to promise that if the show draws enough viewership, more seasons will likely happen. I really liked Marvel Zombies. Its ending's a little weird. If that's all we get, okay, I want more. I liked what I saw.
Watching it. I don't have any interest. I don't have any interest in.
But I read the books, so that was part of my thing.
What If was such a bad animation style that I won't watch anything that they put out.
See, I didn't mind it, but I'm
horrible.
very.
It reminds me of those horrible goddamn DVD motion comics.
I don't know. I'm a lot more forgiving because I really enjoyed What If, at least season 1. Season 2, there were some good episodes. Season 3 was very inconsistent.
The voice acting is horrible. Horrible. If they get the real people from the movies and then they're like, hey, we don't give you any directions, so you can sound all hokey and terrible. I don't know. It pissed me off so much. I'm sorry.
I would disagree because I think certain episodes were really well directed, and other ones, yes, I am not afraid to say you are right.
What's her name? Agent Carter's terrible.
Haley Atwell. Only out of all the episodes she was in, I think I liked about maybe 2 of them.
It's not me against the actress herself. It's the direction was bad. Like, it's the pandemic. Other shows were recorded during the pandemic and they didn't have this trouble. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, with like Marvel Zombies, I like the fact that it relied a lot on Miss Marvel and Shang-Chi. The guy who played Blade, it's not Marshall. I can't pronounce his name. But it wasn't him. It was another dude. And they got everybody to do their roles, which I think was really fantastic. David Harbour did not need to go this hard as Red Guardian, and he did a really good job. They got the guy who played Baron Zemo back. Again, cool idea. Like even Elizabeth Olsen came back as Wanda. I was like, this is cool. I like it. This is what I wanted from a Marvel Zombies. Live action would have been awesome. Not going to happen. But it would have been cool. So if we get a season 2, I hope they take their time and do it, because the way season 1 ends, it's very much what? But if that's all we get, and if it's a one and done, sure. I know Marvel is going to start to slow down doing annual stuff, so we might get 1 live action show a year. As we just mentioned, we'll get 1 or 2 seasons of animated stuff. So X-Men and Spider-Man, I think that's awesome. I really hope at some point there's a discussion about Spider-Man 98 or something, just to bring back, Dan Gilvezan and all those people who did all the work on that. I think that was Dan Gilvezan. I can't remember. But either way,
Spider-Man, radioactive Spider-Man.
That'd be so.
Are you trying to tell me that Spider-Man Unlimited wasn't the next season, like they lied to us about in the goddamn TV? Oh, it's the next season. Why does it look terrible? And why was the stories terrible? Why was everything terrible? And it's supposed to be the next season.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't they do some sort of bullshit like when they're like, because at the end the cliffhanger was Madam Web's like, we're gonna go find the real Mary Jane or your Mary Jane.
Yeah,
and then it just jumps forward. It's like the explanation was he found her and now he's in space.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
Yeah. In
the interim break, he found her. They lived happily ever after, but now he got sucked into space, and you're like, what? But what? But
yeah,
what?
And now Venom and Carnage are working together, and you're like, wait, what?
But
yeah,
it was more jarring than Beast Wars into Beast Machines, and that at least had a story behind why it happened the way it did.
Yeah, like, again, I want Marvel animation to be on the same level as the DC animated stuff. I mean, Creature Commandos, it's an okay show. I mean, hey, we have a robot killing Nazis. I'm down with that.
Marvel doesn't have a Bruce Timm.
Yeah, like they need someone who knows how to make these things, or a Paul Dini who knows how, like, okay,
yeah,
here's the story we're gonna tell. Even if they're Marvel elsewhere, if they did a series of what ifs, or if they straight adapted storylines and used actors from the show, like if I could get, this is my dream project. It's not going to happen. But if I could get Maximum Carnage, Onslaught, a lot of 90s shit here, just so we're crystal clear. Or maybe even House of M. Avengers Academy would be a fucking wicked miniseries. By the way, it's really fucking brutal, but it'd be really cool. But yeah, like that's, I wish Marvel did smaller movies like DC does. They're like an easy 80, 90 minutes. You're in and out. They could kill people. You can bring in the voice casts of whatever shows you want. Like hell, Jensen Ackles is a fucking wicked.
You want to pull people in to, because it's obviously that they want more people to be on Disney Plus, and they're merging Hulu. They want, like, I mean, for us in Canada, we never had Hulu. So, and in the States, I think they're putting it under the Star banner. Like we had the Fox stuff was under the Star banner here, but now everything's sort of merged. Everything is basically Disney Plus, and it's just all sectioned off by if you want mature content or not for the account. But if you want to pull in people that are actually going to pay You have to have things that aren't just for kids and not things that are just small. You need to do a Max line, Punisher Max. You need to do Nick Fury. You want to do some animated stuff? You do the Creature Commandos thing. You make it mature, and you have it under the Max line.
I mean, honestly, to follow your line of thinking here, I guarantee you they would have a significant jump in subscribers if they said, hey guys, we're going to do Marvel Presents, Marvel Zombies, live action, 90 minutes, and you just adapt the first day of the apocalypse. Like you could even literally adapt. The comics had a prequel. I think it was called Dead Days, which happens when the Sentry comes to Earth and brings the zombie virus with him or whatever. And you see Wolverine go fucking crazy. You see Spider-Man eat Mary Jane. You see what happens when when Colonel America goes crazy. If you adapted that into one 90-minute movie, you would get so many people coming on, even if it was just for 1 month. They'd be like, holy shit. That would fucking sell. That would sell it because Disney can do the special effects. People would pay to see this. As much as I think Werewolf by Night's cool, that's not driving subscribers. Man-Thing, I don't care. And I hate saying that because I think that's such a cool idea. But no, I want Marvel Zombies. I want the R-rated stuff. I want Punisher War Journal. Hell, you give me a little mini Thomas Jane movie. That'd be cool. But John Berthold's Punisher now, but you get what I'm saying.
I think you heard my doorbell ring.
I think you did. So yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. But just like, God damn it, Marvel, you can do so much better. I know you can. I liked Marvel Zombies. I want more, but I want to see more from other corners of the Marvel universe. Just try making little mini movies like DC does. And I guarantee you, if you do it right, you'll be surprised. Anyway, this one kind of took me by surprise. So this one comes courtesy of Collider.com. Former WWE wrestler confirms he is in talks to play Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th revival. No genre does franchising quite like horror. For nearly 3 decades of Scream to the resurgence of I Know What You Did Last Summer, your favorite monsters and killers are never really dead. They're just taking a hiatus. But for more than 15 years since the last time we spotted the machete-wielding psychopath Jason Voorhees, fans are beginning to wonder if the Friday the 13th franchise will ever come back to the big screen. With Peacock and A24 hard at work at the prequel series Crystal Lake, the hockey goalie wearing slasher is finally part of the conversation again. And thanks to one of the stars of the upcoming Deathgasm 2 Goremageddon, we have a promising update to share. In support of Deathgasm 2 Goremageddon's world premiere at Fantastic Fest, Collider's Perry Nemeth sat down to chat with the project's director, Jason Lee Howden, and 2 of its stars, Kimberly Crossman and Adam Shearer. The latter was the blood-filled, serves as his latest tenure into cinematic projects, having previously performed under the moniker Braun Strowman in the WWE. Now gaining wider notoriety as an actor, Shearer says he has plans to not only continue his Hollywood takeover, but is incredibly hopeful he'll be the next actor to put the mask on of Jason Voorhees and wreak havoc on unsuspecting teens. After being asked by Nemeth which iconic horror franchise he'd like to be a part of, Shearer didn't hesitate, quickly responding, Friday the 13th Jason, and that he would, quote, gladly shave his beard off to play that character, breathing hope into a long-gone franchise favorite and teasing there may very well be something already in the works that just hasn't made it to the light of day yet. Shearer added, there may have been some talks about me with people that I know and my agency. If we could ever get everybody back on the same page and allow things to work, I might be the next Voorhees. Before he continues his talks with the powers that be behind the Friday the 13th franchise, Shearer will appear as a security guard in Deathgasm 2, Goremageddon. Following the immense popularity of the 2015 film Deathgasm, Howden went back to the drawing board, and that's basically all it is. I don't like the scale of Strowman for Jason. I'd rather they bring back the one from 2009.
I don't think he's supposed to be like 10 feet tall.
Yeah, he's not the mountain from Game of Thrones. I'd rather they like Derek Mears from Freddy vs. Jason. He's still working.
Unless it's supposed to be like nanobot Jason.
You know what? He wouldn't play a bad Uber Jason. Yeah, you actually make a really good point there.
You know
Like-
what else you know who he'd be good as?
Who?
If they make another live action movie, Super Shredder.
Yeah, actually, that'd be kind of cool.
I mean, Kevin Nash was Super Shredder, and he and like was all of his footage was cut except for the part where he's just under the dock.
Yeah, which fucking sucks.
Because
I mean,
I think there was like 5 minutes of footage of him, and then they just cut it down to like 90 seconds.
oh yeah, like it's a real tragedy. Like some of these actors who have this gigantic physicality don't get a chance to do much. I mean, like even the guy who plays the Mountain from Game of Thrones, you know who he would be awesome as? Again, going back to Marvel,
Lurch, if he was on steroids, no.
I'm thinking the Juggernaut or Colossus. Because he's so goddamn huge. Rather than making him a CG character.
You know what? Sure would be better as the Juggernaut, I think, than Vinnie Jones was. Oh God.
Yeah, which is like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Because the
Like,
Juggernaut needs to have he doesn't have to have like ungodly gigantic arms or like fake arms like you put in that, but he has the barrel chest.
yeah, like
and
he looks
he's
huge.
like he looks like a big dumb farm boy football player.
Yeah.
And that's what this guy looks like, a big farm, homegrown farm boy.
Like when I picture a Jason Voorhees, and I know it's nostalgia speaking, Kane Hodder is obviously my Jason, but even when you think there was an actor in Friday the 13th Part 6, CJ Graham, I picture tall, powerful, built like a hockey player, but not a football player. Do you kind of get what I mean when I say that?
Okay, you know who was the right body size before he got a little too overweight?
Who?
Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black.
I could see. I don't know if I'd see him as a Jason type. I could
But
see him working in a Hellraiser type thing.
But he had the right body composition in that movie.
Where like he was built and powerful, but not overwhelmingly so.
He still had a stronger upper body, but he wasn't like the pot belly that he sort of got later on. I mean, he's brilliant as Wilson Fisk now, right?
Oh yeah, he's fucking amazing.
He grew into the role, but like somebody, you know who would make a good Juggernaut?
Who?
The other wrestler, the one that does the worm,
Bray Wyatt,
the heavy set guy that was with what's her name?
Otis.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Think about it. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. No, just the way he walks around and does like the arms flexing and like the physicality. That's put the big helmet on him. That's the Juggernaut.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's weird casting wrestlers in certain roles. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like I still don't know how to feel about Jason Momoa as Blanca.
It's not going to work. It's going to be terrible, but it's going to be entertaining.
Weird. I mean,
it's going to be. It would be much better if they cast and I'm not saying you have to cast based on the country of origin, but there's something. If he's supposed to be like a capoeira fighter / mutant thing that they've done, a Brazilian actor might work better. Seeing as that's where he's supposed to be from, right?
Yeah, like I think 50 Cent as Balrog is fucking brilliant casting. Even Cody Rhodes as Guile, brilliant casting. Jason Momoa is the only one where I'm like, that's a little weird.
Cody's gonna bug me because he's gonna have his lisp, and it's like Guile's supposed to be very American, macho sounding, and he does not have, even without the lisp. I kid, he doesn't have a macho voice.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's gonna be a little soft spoken-y more than I would have wanted. Like, I'm trying to think who would have had a really good Guile voice.
I'm trying to think of WWE wrestlers.
He's too flashy. Ziggler wouldn't have worked. Ziggler would have worked as Ken years ago.
Yeah, he would have been a wicked Ken. Or even like, honestly, as much as he's the joke character and I've already cast him, he wouldn't be a terrible Dan because he's funny.
Yes, stop the bleach blonde, give him, or even if it's not like a permanent dye job, dye his hair brown, and as Dan, he would work as Dan because it's the goofiness. I think some of the casting is a little off.
Mhm.
But in the fun kind of off way. Like, I fully expect the movie's going to be terrible, but I fully expect that I'm going to have a great time, and terrible in a better way than Annihilation.
Yeah, like it's gonna be interesting to see how this all goes down. Like, I'm sure we'll
'Cause
cover this on Loose
yeah,
Cannon at
because the
some
last
point.
movie was terrible. But
Yeah, The Legend of Chun-Li. Yeah.
no, the other one, that other Mortal Kombat was terrible.
Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, I'm talking about Street Fighter. Yeah. Actually,
Yeah,
I like
well,
2021.
and this
It's
is what
got
I'm
its
saying. Like,
problems.
I'm talking about just in general fighting movies
Mm.
that have come out. Right, they've all been terrible recently.
Yeah, the only good fighting game movie is Mortal Kombat 2021, and even still, why do I care about Cole Young? I want Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I want Johnny Cage, and obviously they're trying to course correct with Mortal Kombat 2
Well,
now.
and I mean the best casting of wrestlers in fighting movie
Mhm.
is not what you would expect.
The guy
And
from
it's for the
DOA.
yeah, it's when Kevin Nash was in DOA.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I
And
mean,
that's because the character he played was who did he played so and so's father in the
yeah,
from the game. I forget, I'm drawing a blank, but I believe that character was based on his model, like what would he looked like in WCW.
yeah. So I mean,
So like the character was based on him.
I mean,
So
I'm like honestly kind of surprised no one's taken a shot at doing a Soul Calibur movie. Animated would be really cool because then you could do the ridiculous thing for like Nightmare and Voldo.
is it because
But
of the weapons? Maybe it's too difficult to do the costumes.
it's probably because you look at Voldo or Ivy. Ivy is basically a walking fetish, which again, cool weapon, but it doesn't work
Killer
in real life.
Instinct. Killer Instinct would be interesting.
I would Killer Instinct would make a really cool limited animated series. You
The
get 6 episodes.
Tekken movie was weird.
I mean, having Shang Tsung as Heihachi, that was certainly a choice.
It wasn't bad casting, but again, you know what? It was a little too late for. It was quite clear that Hayachi, outside of the crazy hair, the way his character was designed, he was supposed to be Sonny Chiba.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be Sonny Chiba, the Street Fighter from the original Street Fighter movies. If you gave him the right mustache and everything, the hair spiky out at the sides like Krusty the Clown, that was added, but the way he moved was basically how Sonny Chiba moved in the Street Fighter movies.
Yeah. I mean, like, I really want good casting when you're gonna do this
Horror
Friday
or these sort of things, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, again, I don't see you as Jason. That's cool. Kane Hodder was big and bulky, and it worked because he had the physics. Like, it's going to be weird, but you look at some of the way horror actors move when they perform, and there are a couple that I can think of that really embody the character without saying a whole lot. The guy who plays Art the Clown, David Thornton, he moves a certain way. He's very weird. Not insulting me, but he's very weird in how he moves physically, and it works. Kane Hodder has that breathing down where he turns his head and looks at you, and the crowd goes fucking wild. Robert Englund has a very specific mannerisms as Freddy. Douglas Bradley as Pinhead, right? I mean, even to a certain extent, Andrew Divoff as the Wishmaster. Like, to play a horror movie character, a lot of it is not conveyed through dialogue. So it's a lot of physical acting. And I'm not saying Sheer can't do it, but I don't see it.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Instead of like gigantic hulking Friday the 13th, villain,
Mm-hmm.
instead of bloated, carcass come to life villain,
Zombie Jason, yeah.
why don't they go with, how the character, looked, he had the prosthetics and that.
Mm-hmm.
In the first movie, when he comes out of the water, it's just a skinny kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Weird casting, but you know what might work?
Who?
And it's out of left field.
Okay.
Jim Parsons, Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory.
As an early growing up Jason, or
No, as come back from the dead Jason.
I don't see it.
Unexpected. Why does it always have to be a giant hulking thing? Because he's not. He was a scrawny kid that was drowned.
I could see Parsons working in a different frame. Actually, you know what? The problem is, this is going to sound weird, but you'll understand it what I mean. Parsons has a very recognizable face, right?
Oh,
'Cause
that's the thing.
face-
I'm saying, wears the mask the whole time, and when it's off, prosthetics to make him look deformed.
See, I think he wouldn't be terrible. Ooh, okay. Unexpected casting. Hear me out. Sticking with your idea of Jim Parsons, make him the new Wishmaster.
Okay, that works.
Because he can be that evil,
No.
subtle actor. And again,
Macaulay
he can,
Culkin as Jason.
well, it's, you know what's weird? I seem to recall there was a conversation about Macaulay Culkin getting in the horror movies recently. I can't remember where I heard that.
Well, I know
but-
he either owns or co-owns the Toe Jam and Earl franchise.
Yeah, which is, again, just friggin' wild. But yeah, I mean, again, I wish this guy all the luck in the world. If you get cast as the new Jason, I hope they change that fucking mask.
I get it.
'cause
If this was a Michael Bay movie, still he would be cast because it's just how he casts. But I think all bets are off now because Hollywood actors are starting, like the ones that are getting older, are doing more and more. Don't forget, Ethan Hawke now is a horror franchise star.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Black Phone surprised the shit out of me.
So who's
I
to say
remember-
like Jude Law or somebody doesn't want to just jump into you never know who's going to do it. Like there's no expectation that you have to do a bazillion films.
You know what? Jude Law would be a fucking wicked Pinhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that would be amazing. I mean, when Douglas Bradley passes on, I don't think Jude Law would be a terrible thing. Or, you know what? If you want that long... No, maybe... I don't know. Have you ever seen the Phantasm movies?
I was just thinking of Phantasm and that he might work with that.
Yeah, but say, as the tall man, if you
what was the one with the guy? Was it Warlock? Or Witchcraft?
Yeah.
Was it Warlock?
Yeah, Warlock, Julian
Or was it
Sands.
Wishmaster or Wishmaster or something?
Wishmaster was Andrew Divoff.
Okay, so it's the Warlock. Yeah, it's the Julian Sands. That's what Jude Law could do.
I could see that. I really could. I think that'd be really fun. Which I also found out, because I remember you and I were talking about this, and me and Liam just watched this movie a little while ago. We watched a movie called Witchboard, which is basically evil Ouija board. Turns out there was a remake that came out this year, and it only made $245,000 at the box office.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I must see this. Anyway, last story, and this story broke this morning, which I remember my phone blowing up. I was like, wait, what? So, according to GamesIndustry.biz and many other outlets, EA to be acquired by public investment fund Silver Lake and Affinity Partners for $55 billion. As an update to the story, transaction is expected to close in Q1 2027. Andrew Wilson to remain on as CEO. Electronic Arts has confirmed it is entering an agreement to be acquired by a group of investors comprised of Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, so PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners. The investment group will acquire 100% of the developer, with PIF rolling its existing stake in the company. As part of the acquisition, EA stockholders will receive a $200 per share in cash. The transaction will be funded in cash from PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners. This includes PIF's existing stake in EA, quote, constructing an equity investment of approximately $36 billion and $20 billion of debt, $18 billion of which is expected to be funded at close. EA's acquisition is the, quote, largest all-cash sponsor to take private investment in history and is expected to close during Q1 fiscal year 2027.
Because the Microsoft acquisitions were not cash.
Yeah. Our creative and passionate teams at EA have delivered extraordinary experiences for hundreds of millions of fans, built some of the world's most iconic IP, and created significant value for our business, said EA CEO Andrew Wilson, who remains head of the company. Quote, looking ahead, we will continue to push the boundaries of entertainment, sports, and technology, unlocking new opportunities. Together with our partners, we will create transformative experiences to inspire generations to come. I am more energized than ever about the future we are building. So Affinity Partners, very briefly, is one of the investment firms that Jared Kushner is involved with. That's a name that sounds familiar to some of you. That's somebody in Trump's orbit. Not great. I'm not going to jump down the conspiracy rabbit hole with this, But
And I can tell you exactly what this is. It's been quite open and transparent. Pretty much
Mhm.
the prince, the Saudi prince, I forget his name, the one that was very involved in getting WWE to go over there.
yeah, I was about
Um,
to say, yeah, it's the WWE guy.
it's I forget the name of the program, but it's like Saudi 2030 or 2035 or whatever it is. It's the program that they have that's like a 10 to 20 year program to modernize their country, to change the public perception of Saudi Arabia from that of being a very restrictive, religiously ruled country into being more of a tourist destination because they know they're going to run out of oil. So the idea is, hey, in 100 years, we won't have any oil, or people won't be relying on oil. It's just, and anybody that wants to argue that we are running out, it's going to happen in the next 100 years.
Mhm.
And their thought is, well, we can't be caught with nothing. So they want to become the tourist destination for the world, more so than anywhere. And that is why they're trying to get into sports. They own SNK, famously one of
Neo
I
Geo
would say,
developer.
yeah, one of the three big, like it's one of the four big arcade companies of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. The others being Atari,
Capcom,
mid
Sega.
Atari / Midway, depending on who was on top, Sega and Namco, being the others. But SNK was arguably the biggest of them in the 90s. Them and Sega were the last two big ones left. And they bought them. They also own a bunch of esports stuff, leagues, I think, that they're trying to get into.
Apex Legends is one I can immediately think of.
They are in the process of getting, I think it's not next year, it might be the year after's WrestleMania, which is a big deal because they spent, I think, all cash to get it, because it's going to air at like 2 a.m. in the West.
Yeah, who the hell's going to watch that?
Nobody, but they don't care because they got like $100 million to put it on there, or something ridiculous like that. There is rumors going around that they're basically trying to prop up TKO, which is WWE and UFC, to sell completely to the Saudis. They had made plays to try to purchase teams and or entire leagues of sports like NBA, NFL, and all that. They can't afford the NFL. They can't afford FIFA. And they can't, they could technically maybe afford NHL, the whole thing, because the market cap would mean that they could spend, $50 or $100 billion. But it's kind of hard to transplant hockey as a cultural thing to their own country. A little easier with basketball, a little easier with others, but they've tried that stuff and it doesn't work. But golf, remember, they built an entire golf league that pays double or triple what the previous Masters does. So, and they've got, I think they got Tiger Woods and they got somebody else going, like, they are buying up sports and buying up things to be recreational, building up their infrastructure there. That's what they're doing. And they're swooping in to take over or purchase companies that were either previously owned by like Embracer or previously had Chinese investments like Tencent and all that stuff. Remember that was the big thing the last 5-10 years, was all the Chinese companies being buying up things, right? Well, now that the Chinese government has scaled back on that, and other companies have become more risk adverse when it comes to China, they're swooping in. So they've been very open that their plan is to get these things, own as big of a pie as they can. So EA was the last of the very large independent gaming companies in America.
Yeah, like, and
if you think,
they hold a lot of powerful IP too. They hold
yes.
Apex Legends, they hold Madden, they hold Battlefield, they hold The Sims.
And you could argue, okay, Atari's the oldest, but they fell apart. They've been split apart a million times, and they've got their own niche going now with the current owners being the retro company. But they are a fraction. Like they went from being essentially 90% of the market to like 1%.
Yeah,
if not less. But if you go, the two oldest large gaming companies were Activision and EA. And Activision merged with Vivendi. What was that, like 15 years ago?
Yep.
Something like that, 10, 15 years ago. And then now, obviously, Microsoft bought them. And because EA goes back to 82, like they started not just as like gaming software, they were like a PC software company, and that's what made them a little more unique, was that they sort of had their fingers in more pies than a lot of other gaming companies at the time. So most of the other big quote unquote gaming companies came to rise in power with the NES or with the Super Nintendo era in general, like timing wise, late 80s, early 90s. EA was already well established at that point, and they had survived obviously on their live service games and then the yearly titles, and then they had some bigger stuff. What this means is more so than most of the other IPs, like Battlefield and everything, the Saudis want this for the sports games. If they can't own the actual leagues, they want to control the games from the leagues. Especially FIFA, or it's not called FIFA anymore. What is it? EAFC, because they can get the rights.
Plus, they have the USC license too.
Do not be surprised if EA now regains the FIFA license, because the Saudis are willing to throw a lot more money around. They're willing to lose money on the upfront, and if they can get the license, get the names, because they want to establish, if you think of X Sports League, if you think of Madden, you're also thinking of Saudi Arabia, even if they don't own the leagues.
Yeah,
so
it's like
it's a long game. That's essentially, in my opinion, what I see them going for. I hope this also means that they will leave a little more autonomy, and because their purse strings are significantly bigger. Remember, the Saudi fund is like $1.7 trillion that they have in wealth set aside. So I hope this means Mass Effect actually gets the budget it needs.
Yeah, like ultimately, I just need it to happen. I just don't want anything negative. Hold on. Blair, what the hell do you... Hold on. Blair's trying to talk to me and not the greatest time. I'll deal with this later. Don't worry. It's cool. I see it. Awesome. Thank you. Sorry, guys. That's the magic of radio.
Hey, I had my doorbell ring and it was loud, and I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's a package for me, so I will check that later.
But yeah, so that's all we got for news this week. Now we're gonna launch into a longer review, but it's obviously, this is the crown jewel, if you will, in this show, and this is going to be Alex's review of Ghost of Yotei, which will be available on October 2nd. I'm going to be buying my copy, you lucky son of a bitch. So I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, guys, yes, this is going to be Alex's review of Ghost of Yotei, available exclusively on the PlayStation 5. We'll be back, guys, right after this, only on thisweekingeek.net.
I will find every last member of the Yotei Six, and I will bring you peace. I swear it.
Creatures such as you and I cannot resist the call of revenge.
I found something new to live for.
Alex, the producer here, and I have been given a review code from Sony Entertainment Canada for Ghost of Yotei, the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, which we, I believe Bourbon and I both reviewed, was it 5 years ago now? It was the last major game from the first-party Sony titles that I reviewed before the launch of the PS5. And then again, they sent a review code for the PS5 version of that, which was basically just taking advantage of slightly better resolutions and then faster loading times and yada yada. And obviously it was like just putting icing on top of an already really good cake. With Ghost of Yotei, it's been highly anticipated because there hasn't been a lot of Sony first-party titles outside of like what I would consider the launch quote-unquote window of the first year and a half of big anticipated titles that were PS5. Also, a lot of those titles, for the most part, were there was that transition period, and it's still somewhat going on, where they were PS4 and PS5 releases, so they weren't like super targeting the most, higher end hardware. And obviously since then we've had the PS5 Pro come out. Nobody on our team actually has one, basically because of the financials and the price point in general. Eventually we probably will get one, but who knows? PS6 might be out before then. Now, my younger brother does have a PS5 Pro, so I was able to borrow temporarily his Pro to play the Yotei, just to see if, some of the more enhanced features that are available there that I don't get on my base system. But I only played that basically for a day with my account, and then after that I deleted it from there and played the rest of it on the baseline, because that's where the vast majority of people are going to be playing it. And I can say it doesn't really matter if you have a PS5 Pro or a standard edition, you are going to get a really good experience on either. The big enhancements, as far as from what I can see, and we're not super duper technical, if you want somebody like that, you're going after like a Digital Foundry or something to do a deep dive into the technicalities of it. But the main differences are it seems to lock to a higher internal resolution, as well as unlocking a mode that does ray tracing plus, which is more enhanced ray tracing, but it lowers the resolution slightly. Not noticeably so to the point where like things get less detailed to the naked eye. It's just more of a focused attempt using the PSSR upscaling and stuff. And it still locks to a pretty solid frame rate at, I believe, 60 FPS for that. Now, as far as the baseline system, which is where the majority of this review is going to be, you ended up with 3 modes. It defaults to their fidelity mode, which is it just says targeting a higher resolution at a 30 FPS frame rate. And to be honest, this kind of game, the samurai game, it works fine. Like in that, it's not something that you need, in quotes, to have 60 FPS for. But I did play around with all 3 modes. That's the main mode, which I'm going to assume targets the higher resolution, just at a lower frame rate. The middle mode is the performance mode, which is the 60 FPS mode on the base console. And while it looks cool, it's going to sound weird, and it's probably just my opinion. I didn't like the 60 FPS mode. I almost felt like it moved too quickly. And to me, that's because I view these games as like a living movie, a living cinematic experience. And some people may call BS on that, but that's just me. And I find that the lower frame rate lends itself to more of the cinematic feel. And that is fine, because it's not like you're constantly having Twitch gameplay with this. Yeah, there's some intense fights, but it still feels more tuned to like a cinematic event, not like, this isn't like a Devil May Cry type of game. And then the third option, which is where I ended up setting it for most of the game, is the ray tracing mode. And that is 30 FPS again, slightly lower resolution, but you get ray traced lighting, which is dramatically better. It ends up looking like interior shots and everything. It just looks more natural. It was hard for me to notice at first, but you can swap on the fly. And where you really notice it is when you have different times of day or weather effects going on. And I just basically left it there. There's also a few different visual modes you can set on based on different Japanese famous directors. This is the Kurosawa mode returns, which here's what my thought is. I would think playing it in the fidelity mode with Kurosawa mode on would be a good pairing. With the other modes, off the top of my head, I can't remember the director's names, but the one director is the I forget his name, but I think it's the mode is it the Cowboy Bebop guy? It might be. Sorry if I'm wrong, but that mode has like a unique soundtrack that is more like lo-fi beats mixed with it, which is pretty sweet. That mode, you can probably sort of pair it with any frame rate or anything. I ended up choosing the Miike mode, which is Takashi Miike's style, where it zooms in the field of view a little bit, and it even gives you a warning that some things may happen from the sides that you won't see an indication of unless you turn on accessibility mode. I went through the accessibility settings, as with all Sony Studios titles. Great accessibility mode options. You can granularly change all the difficulty settings you want, all the visual settings to help people there. If you've got issues with dexterity or other, physical disabilities for controller schemes. You can customize anything you want. So I ended up probably going with a mostly custom setting. So it's a little bit of easy, a little bit of hard, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And that's great. And turning that mode on, it may be a placebo effect, but because of the slightly narrower field of view and you're a little closer in, I felt that putting it there with the ray tracing mode on, it was a good combination because there were zero chances or less chances for it to have frame rate stuttering or anything. And for the most part, I encountered 0 frame rate drops. It was just like lock 30 the whole time with ray tracing on, no issues. Didn't matter how many things were happening on screen. And I know that in the base mode, without the director's modes on, there are some spots people are saying that, with lots of crowded things happening, you could get a frame rate drop or two. But with the McKay mode on, I didn't encounter that at all. It also increases the mud and blood spurting and damage and everything. So that was a little more my style. I liked that. That was pretty freaking sweet. Audio-wise, absolutely fantastic, as to be expected. That could almost have a whole discussion in itself. We might end up having to do that with the other guys once they've caught up. But as far as gameplay, this is where I want to stress that it's not just more of the same. This isn't just Tsushima again. It is an enhancement in pretty much every way. The storytelling is much more organic. You just sort of flow along. You don't ever feel aimless. You'll find something to do along the way, and that leads to another thing, that leads to another thing, leads to another thing. It's not like a bazillion things on the map that you have to feel like you're checking off on a list. It's just you sort of organically find your way around. I ended up still doing most of the things off the beaten path before doing the main missions, and it never felt like it was tedious, or never felt like I was just like, okay, another one, I gotta get more. There's less like splattered stuff to do on the map and more targeted things, but that you discover them naturally. So things just don't like fill a map. You don't like find a point to look around like Assassin's Creed or something and just, oh, here's a bunch of point of interest items. You talk to people that are walking along the streets. You encounter NPCs within the little towns. And when you talk to them, they'll say, hey, I saw a fox over there. And it'll give you a piece of a map, or you can purchase a map from a cartographer. And you have to line it up on the main map itself. And you're like, well, this looks like this area. And if you find the right spot, it slots in, and then it goes, here's your point of interest. You can naturally find them on their own. And if you do and find them on their own, then those encounters with the NPCs to give you the items or with the cartographer won't show up. So there is no like overlap. It does track in the back end what you're doing and how you're doing it. But the main point of this game is you're going after the Yotei 6. And, without spoiling anything, how you encounter them is broken up into a few ways. It's not like in Tsushima where there were clearly defined chapters and acts that you had to do in a specific order. This is much more open to you in that you're given sort of 3 pathways to choose after the introduction of the game. I went with what I felt was natural to me, and after doing it, I went, oh, wait a minute, I could have done it in a different order, and it would have given me a very different feel to the game, because I would have either unlocked weapons or things differently and have been able to apply them differently. Also, depending on who you beat in the Yotei 6 first, some cutscenes later on may be slightly different because they will reference certain people that you encountered and maybe which characters you killed. So kill one of them, and then in a cutscene they'll say, did you hear about what happened to so-and-so? And I feel like if depending on the order you do, you'll get different results that way. There is still a definitive thing, like you have to do a few things before moving on to like what I would consider the final chapter, but it's more organic how you get to that than you would naturally have thought. It's very well put together. Fast travel is super quick, just like it was in the original game, and obviously faster because it's targeting PS5 as the base console. As far as the voice acting is as good, if not better, than in the first game. The little lore drips here and there, the historical accuracy is just as on point as it was previously. I feel the direction of the cutscenes is a little different. The best way I can describe this game, outside of just feeling great, being a really good open world game, something that I think a lot of people are going to love, especially for like we're getting closer to the Christmas and holiday season. It's going to be on a lot of people's lists. It really does show off the amazing features of the the PS5 itself, and just, congratulations to the crew. I don't really have anything bad to say. What I will say is Ghost of Tsushima felt like you were playing through a movie, and Ghost of Yotei feels like you're playing through a television show in how it's structured and just how much more there is to the story and how much more compelling it is. Both great games. Highly recommend. If you haven't played Tsushima, play it. You don't have to have played it to play Yotei, but I do recommend it. Yotei is fantastic. I would check it out.
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do!
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey guys, welcome back to thisweekingeek.net. Awesome review of Ghost of Yotei. I'm definitely looking forward to picking this up on October 2nd, and that's going to be my birthday game, because that's what I'm going to be playing, because Terminator got delayed till November. So, shit. But I also have Mortal Kombat. This month's going to be very expensive, and I hate it. Anyway, moving on. All right, our first story comes courtesy of Vice.com. Attack squirrel is on the loose in California and has sent at least 2 people to the emergency room. In the suburb of San Rafael, California, residents are now dodging a rogue squirrel that has already sent 2 people to the hospital. This fuzzy little anger missile has launched a full-scale assault on at least 5 unsuspecting locals. 2 victims, Joan Heblack and Isabel Compoy, ended up in the ER after being ambushed. Heblack was just out for a walk when the squirrel clamped onto her leg. Campoy's attack was even more like a squirrel attack you'd see in a movie. The squirrel jumped straight for her face before landing on her arm and tearing it up. According to Marin humane and wild care experts, this particular squirrel is likely enraged by the very thing human thinks it would make it happy. Humans feeding wildlife. A once hand-fed squirrel, now left to fend for itself, became a one-squirrel wrecking crew of misplaced trust that expresses itself as unbridled rage. So now it has been programmed to basically view humans as walking vending machines that don't vend food. It gets angry, it starts biting and scratching. Vanessa Potter from Wildcare told ABC News that, quote, if they associate people with food, they're not afraid of them. Porter went on to say when squirrels go looking for food and they can't find any, they get frustrated and become territorial of their space. Here we have a situation where a squirrel views a human as a potential food source, and when one approaches without food, they lose their mind and fly into a blind, white-hot fury. Your first instinct when you hear about a wild animal going nuts on people is to think of rabies immediately. Thankfully, experts say that the squirrel is very unlikely to have rabies, but that's a small comfort to people who had to go to the hospital because they were beaten to a pulp by a glorified rat. Flyers have gone up around the Lucas Valley neighborhood, warning of a, quote, very mean squirrel that comes out of nowhere, and attacks have reportedly stopped since mid-September. Marin Humane is on standby to trap and remove the animal if it resurfaces. If there's a lesson to be learned here, it's to not feed squirrels under any circumstances. You think you're going to get a Snow White-like scenario where the cute critters of the forest greet you. In reality, you're just creating an addict that will try to kill you if you don't come bearing gifts. Now, you've heard me show about me being indigenous Cinderella Snow White.
Yes.
I have never had the squirrels become aggressive towards me, although this summer I haven't been down in the park as much to feed them. So I really hope the squirrel mom is alive. Yeah, and well, it's weird because I can tell you from personal experience, squirrels and chipmunks know who I am. And this is going to sound really weird, like I'm not schizophrenic here, but the squirrels and the chipmunks know the sound of my wheelchair. They hear the motor and they follow me. And when I can, I'll toss nuts out to them. Now that the fall's here and I can spend a little bit more time in the park, yeah, I'll probably feed them a bunch. And I know I just read a story that says don't fucking do it. But
you're the Pied Piper of tree rats.
I am the vermin king of Guelph. But that's insane. I mean, now when I was a kid, I did see one particular squirrel attack a friend of mine. A black squirrel had jumped out of a tree and landed on top of a friend of mine, on top of his hoodie or his hood of his jacket during the winter. And he flailed and like threw like a pizza slice. It was about as cartoony ridiculous as you can imagine. That's the only time I've ever seen a squirrel attack. And even then, I think it just fell out of a tree. But more often than not, my experience is a squirrel, they'll eat right out of my hand. This is going to sound really fucked up and sad, but I really treasure this moment. I was having a really bad day about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and this pregnant squirrel, who I called Squirrel Mama, sat down with me at the picnic table at the local park that's wheelchair accessible. And we just passed nuts and had lunch together over the course of like an hour. And the squirrel just hung out with me. And it was the cutest thing I'd ever experienced. And then this squirrel knew who I was. And whenever I come down to the park, it would sit right on the table beside me and just hang out. I've had chipmunks crawl onto my footboard of my wheelchair. I've had birds land on me and not seem afraid. So I'm not going to say I have strange shaman powers, but my experience
you keep getting deeper and deeper into the mystical as you say this. I'm not saying that I have the powers of a god, but
yes, my lone superpower is I can command small rodents. And
you can't command them. You can charm them. That's even worse.
I am from the Feywild. Yes, it's so ridiculous. So I guess long story short, be careful of feeding wild animals. I mean, you wouldn't feed a skunk, right? Yet I've
you wouldn't steal a DVD, would you?
Yeah, you wouldn't feed a skunk, would you? Yeah, it's like
I'm trying to do the song. Stupid anti-piracy song from 25 years ago.
But yeah, it's like, it's crazy. I mean, hopefully these people didn't get chewed up too bad, but those squirrels have wicked teeth. They really do. So yeah, I guess moral of the story here, be careful what animals you do feed. I mean, obviously you shouldn't be doing it. It's just, you are interacting with a wild animal. But again, I just gave you my experience that's so positive, and it's so conflicting to say that, because I love my squirrel friends. I love my bird friends, but at the same time, I'd rather not have my eyes clawed out by Mr. Blue Jay. So, I don't know what my moral of the story is, but listen to Vice.com and don't feed the white hot fury of the attack squirrels. Not all of us are Squirrel Girl from Marvel. Moving on to our next story. This comes from courtesy of 1075coolfm.com. Teacher assistant arrested for spraying poop spray. This is something you and I would have definitely done because we're evil people. This is not the kind of school supply anyone had in mind. A teacher's assistant in South Carolina has been arrested after pulling a prank that literally stank. The prank, Alexander Lewis, see, it's always you people, 32, was working at West Florence High School when he decided to unleash poop spray. Yes, a bottle product designed to smell like, well, you know. He ordered it online and sprayed it around the school to mimic the smell of feces. Mission accomplished. When things got messy, the prank wasn't a one-time gag. Investigators believe Lewis sprayed it multiple times between August 25th and September 19th. The smell got so bad that students complained they couldn't concentrate, and some even reported queasiness, headaches, and nausea. Not exactly a laugh riot. The school district ended up on the hook for nearly $55,000 in damages that covered inspection costs and repairs to the air conditioning system that had sucked in the smell. Imagine explaining that line item to a school board meeting. Pranks are one thing, but when your joke sends kids to the nurse's office and costs tens of thousands of dollars, the punchline's probably not worth it. In the end, Lewis was arrested and charged with disturbing the school. Moral of the story, maybe just stick to the fart jokes and not industrial strength poop spray. I always found it really weird how they sell stuff like that, and you can get it in literally industrial size containers. Like, I know one engineer on YouTube, Mark Rober, did the Amazon porch pirate thief fart spray alarm thing. And again, that's punishing a porch pirate. They're already committing a crime. I don't feel too bad about that particular instance. But spraying fart spray in a school that often, once, okay, that's a gag. Twice, okay, maybe that's a pattern. But from the 19th till the whatever date that was, like, that's insanity. Because that's not funny. Like, how funny? Like, haha, it smells like shit. I don't get it. I mean, and even looking at that, I had some dark fucking thoughts. I really did. I'm thinking, where could I deploy fart spray where it could cause the maximum amount of damage and really fuck up someone's day? I'm not going to share these thoughts in the public lest they ever happen.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking back in my days of high school that that's an easy thing. You do it, you deploy it in the cafeteria at lunchtime around the tables where girls are at, so it has maximum dispersal and screaming.
Well, like well, it's funny because like when you and I were in high school, and I know there's about a 10-year difference between us, but the timing still makes sense.
Well, yeah, but like a 5 or 6 year at least. Like our overlap would have been like you were in OAC age, and I would have been in
grade 9, maybe.
Yeah, because like you're born what 81.
Yep, 81. I'll be 44.
And I'm 87. So like I started high school in September of 01, and you were graduating then.
Yeah, because like way back when, if you wanted to buy these little fart canisters, they were these little glass tubes you threw on the ground and shattered like a fucking Batman pellet or something like that. But now you can literally go on Amazon and type in poop spray. You can get a variety of wonderful aromas, and they're literally aerosolized. So you can easily deploy this shit. And like I've seen people drop this in cars. I've seen people drop it in like office buildings. I've seen ridiculous places where this stuff gets deployed. And for example, to pop on my soapbox for a minute, people with environmental sensitivities, this could be real fucking bad news. And again, I get it. It's funny in concept, but maybe not in execution, considering now that we're in a and again, I use that term remarkably lightly, post-COVID world, not everyone's wearing a mask. Not everybody has the filters and all this shit. So this could have gone real sideways. I mean, like, if this guy wanted to cause some troubles, maybe spray one room, maybe go to the music room or something, right? Maybe spray like a couple of chairs or something. Again, stuff that could easily be removed and you could identify the smell and you could easily target it. But it sounds like this guy was literally carpet bombing the entire school with this shit. And
yeah,
$55,000. Like that's like somebody's going to be making an awesome payday as an HVAC repairman that day, right? Like that's replacing equipment. That is not a fun time.
And also, I think punishments are much harsher now than they used to be for things like this.
Yeah, because I know, for example, this is going to sound weird, but I was talking with a police officer friend of mine, and I was asking questions about, well, how are Canadian laws when it comes to pepper spray, bear spray, and dog spray when deployed against a person? Because, you know, in the United States, yeah, you can carry mace, you can carry all this crap. In Canada, you could carry dog spray or coyote spray reasonably, but you can't use it on a person because then the charge you get is called dispersal of a noxious substance or something. But I remember the phrase noxious substance specifically in the charge. So that's something that's not going to go well for you. It's one thing if you spray a dog or if you spray a person that's attacking you. The law may not necessarily look favorably upon you, but they'll understand.
If you're protecting yourself,
yeah,
it is not just that it's less lethal; it's not permanently harmful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whereas
like,
with this,
I'm thinking like you bring things to school, like I don't think kids now can relate to when we were kids, it already wasn't even popular doing the cherry bombing of toilets.
Which I never understood the point of that.
Now, that stuff, when I was a kid in the early 90s, that was still happening in high schools. Like, that was still not common. I would say
maybe
once every couple of years, no, actually not even that. Once a year, there was a cherry bomb at most schools, I think. And it was usually a toilet or a firecracker in the in one of the garbages. We had that actually happen in either my middle school or my high school, like where there was a small fire because somebody lit a firecracker and it lit the tissue papers in the garbage on fire, and they just weren't thinking. They thought it would make the noise. They didn't realize that it was enough of a spark to light it up. So like that stuff happened, the cherry bomb, or like the kind of hazing people would do. You remember now? That's mostly a Canadian thing in the 90s, but you remember pushing a loonie or a toonie with your nose while somebody wheelbarrowed the kids?
No.
You don't remember people doing that? They go
No.
around the track outside. They put a toonie or a loony on the ground, and they push the kid's nose on it. Like the grade 12 or 13 kids would have the kid's ankles up in the air, and they'd have to push it with their nose.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not great. Yeah, we had a lot of bullying.
Yeah, no shit.
that,
Oh my god.
that was not great. Or making kids like lick the toilet seat bowl. A whole bunch of pretty not great stuff. But again, like it was like the bullying thing was like, hey, you're getting suspended for a day. Like nowadays, there's a lot more shit. I brought a fake gun to school to shoot a movie and didn't tell anybody. And
yeah, that happened now. You're probably not coming home.
It was a Dirty Harry Magnum cap gun that I took the orange tip and painted black to make it look more real for the movie. And I took it to school in my backpack. I'm like, I can't really take this out or I'll get in trouble. This is 2005 or 5 or 6.
Oh wow!
And the teacher's like, Alex, if you get that, you might, the cops might come. You might be in trouble. And he's like, don't. He goes, oh my god, I can't believe it, because we filmed the movie and then I didn't show up when they showed the school. He goes, but he didn't see it. The teacher at the time, they aired it to the whole school, like 1,700 people, and they're like, wait, that's one of the classrooms, and the guy's got a gun.
Jesus.
The argument was I didn't get in trouble because I was graduating, and they're like, he's gonna be gone, and I was like, well, it was just a fake gun. But regardless, if you fast forward 20 years, they would have had the SWAT team there.
But say, yeah, like you could, not
so
have
like
a goddamn good time.
So like the pranks and stuff that you could get away with back then, not that you could bring a gun and get away. Like I knew I had to hide it, but like kids wouldn't even think of doing these things anymore. So like when I see something like this, or it's like noxious sprays, and that's become a thing. You notice that, like noxious sprays at movie theaters and different places, you see it in the news. Like it's, I don't know why that's become a thing now, but it just sort of is. But like, I don't get it. I don't get the idea behind the poop spray stuff.
Yeah, like it's just it's asking for trouble. It's disgusting. It's
I don't need the poop spray. If I just let one rip, I can clear a room anyway. So like,
I was going to say, you are a terror of any public washroom you're in.
Yes. I will, not to get into any of those stories, but I will say a story that when we were going into lockdown, you remember when the pandemic was hitting? We were going into lockdown. We knew there was going to be a lockdown. We did a visit before that where I hung out at your place. We had some friends over to eat something because we're like, hey, looks like next week we're shutting down everything. And right before we left, I stood in front of a fan, farted like a 4-second fart right into it, blew right into your face, you're gagging. And I said, it's something to remember me for the next couple of months.
I remember that. I remember that.
And Tristan, former game player on our shows, almost fell to the ground with laughter and then said, oh my God, I have to leave.
It was pretty friggin' amusing. All right, our last story this week is something that I oddly have known about for quite some time, but it seems like the chase is over, but I suspect there'll be many copycats of this. So according to Fox 10 in Phoenix, Penis Man graffiti suspect arrested by the
graffiti. What is that? Is that graffiti on a penis or a penis used to make graffiti?
So according to Tempe police, they say they have arrested the person they believe is responsible for a number of graffiti that feature the words "Penis Man." What we know, per a statement released on September 26, 36-year-old Tanner Belanger was taken into custody on September 25th in Phoenix. The backstory, investigators say over the past several months, they have received multiple reports of the phrase "Penis Man" spray painted on buildings in Tempe. Many of the incidents were not captured on video surveillance, read a portion of the statement. Following a detailed investigation, detectives confirm Belanger's involvement in at least 2 of the cases. What they're saying, graffiti is not a harmless act. It costs property owners money and hurts local businesses and affects the look and feel of our neighborhoods, read a portion of the Tempe police statement on Belanger's arrest. What's next? Belanger, according to police, admitted to committing the graffiti. He's accused of 2 counts of criminal damage in connection with incidents that happened near Rural Road and Abate Boulevard in July and August of 2025. Now, the story of Penis Man goes back a lot longer. Like I'm thinking years. Where literally this town in Arizona, Tempe and Phoenix, were literally there was like so many tags of just penis man, just written on as many things as you can possibly think of, and there was a lot of copycats as well too. It's just kind of weird. Just the idea of this average 36-year-old dude just going out in the dead of night and just writing penis man. It's so weird that I'm like, that's really strange. I've got to talk about this. So we've had flying squirrels.
Is it the equivalent of Bart Simpson, El Barto?
Yeah, exactly. That's what this is. This is literally El Barto, but he said penis man, which there was, I mean, in terms of notable graffiti, I think I told this story on the show years back.
There's Banksy doing the amazing street art that gets cut out of the walls and then sold for millions of dollars, and penis man.
It's so ridiculous, and it's like it's almost the copycat crime. I hope more people do, just for funsies. Like, just write.
Well, I want penis man where it's with an exclamation point. I want penis man where it's penis apostrophe man. I want penis colon man. I want every flavor. That sounds bad. Wait, sorry. That sounds bad. I didn't mean I want every penis flavor.
I want penis man question mark. I mean, I want weirdness, or I want vagina woman or something like that. You know,
I want penis man, but the S is that S that every kid drew on their notebook. You know, the diamond S.
Yep. Like, it's so amazing. And like, you see so many talented graffiti artists out there. This is literally just someone with a black can of spray paint just writing penis man on something. But the most notable piece of graffiti that I was aware of,
it's not gonna be somebody our age.
No.
You know, it's gonna be at this point when they arrest the person's gonna be like mid-50s, Gen X, and was like, I wanted to do this since the late 70s, early 80s. So basically some grandpa, because we don't think of Gen X as grandpa, but Gen X is grandpa now.
Yep, it's true. When I was living in Orangeville, which is a town probably like an hour away from where I'm currently living, there was a dumpster that was on Foursquare, which used to be an app where you could check into a location. So like a restaurant, a hotel, whatever. But there was a dumpster that somehow made it onto Foursquare. And if you claimed it, you could become the mayor of this. So you'd be like the mayor of Pizza Hut, the mayor of, I don't know, so-and-so's realty, whatever. But I was in a feud with the entire town of Orangeville to see who could be the king of the slut dumpster. And you said literally, it was just the word slut on it written in really sloppy white spray paint. And it was such a point of pride. I'm like, I am the king of the slut dumpster.
I thought you were the toilet king of something or other.
No, that was short. What the fuck? How did that phrase go? Short bus is the mongoose king. Yes, and I wrote that across bathrooms between Hamilton, Ontario, and Dallas, Texas, in 2008. And I must have wrote that across.
It's quite the good feat when you get all the way down to Dallas, because it's like you've covered 3,000 miles.
I was just like, this is stupid. I'm gonna
wow. Sure. Wait. I think I know who Short Bus is, but we don't have to say it on air.
Yeah, basically, the long story short, this was a kid who picked up a rather unfortunate nickname at the time. I totally disown this behavior now because it's not.
But
fun.
no, but aren't you like some sort of king of some toilet thing yourself or something?
No, I was
Birdman, the king of something or other.
Oh, I was the Bird King of La Mancha, just because it sounded really weird when I was in college. But yeah, like we had a lot of nicknames that were not always completely PC. But it was never meant in complete malice. It was more just because it was goofy. And the Mongoose King came out of like, I think I was just watching a documentary and I was like, mongooses are weird. And I'm like, all right, that man is the king of the mongooses. And yeah. It's pretty ridiculous. There's some stuff I'll have to tell you like off air, but
just because you don't necessarily want to proliferate it, but it's funny to look back at it sometimes on how inconsiderate we were as kids.
Oh yeah, and like again, just the idea of a 36-year-old man got arrested for penis man, and it's the dumbest thing ever.
It says 36. I don't believe that's the penis man.
Oh yeah, like it must be somebody older or like
I'm like he's not somebody my age. I swear. I think that's who's the real penis man. That's the question. I think the penis man is like 52.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna be something weird because I guarantee
this might be. We're gonna keep up on this. This might be the son of penis man.
Like it wouldn't surprise me if you get a lot more copycats, especially as time goes on, because there's always an event that happens in a town that just
I'm the penis man. No, I'm the penis man. Arrest me. No, I'm the penis man. Oh, Captain, my captain.
It's so ridiculous. But anyway, guys, that's what we are going to conclude on for this edition of thisweekingeek.net. And we're going to listen to one of my reviews where I take a look at something that can't be used to clean up graffiti, but can help clean up your house. So we'll be back, guys, right after this, only on thisweekingeek.net. Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. Once again, we got sent something really cool from our friends over at Shark. We're going to be looking at the Shark Navigator self-cleaning, and this is a Brushroll pet upright vacuum. And my wife did the review for me on this, as she does most of the cleaning in the apartment. And she writes, as someone who's ridiculously hard on vacuums, this upright corded vacuum has seriously impressed her. We have two long-haired cats, Beaker and Dutch, and we live in an older building, so dust and hair are plentiful, as in literally everywhere. This vacuum has made the carpets feel and look so much nicer. It got all the fluff balls from the edges of the room. For a student who's just beginning to start out in their first dorm or apartment, you really can't go wrong with this. You don't need to remember to put this thing in the charger. There's no bags. The self-cleaning brush mechanism will make cleaning as simple as it could possibly be. The vacuum that deep cleans now cleans itself. The self-cleaning Brushroll delivers non-stop hair removal, so now we're not picking up Beaker and Dutch hair every 15 minutes. It's lightweight, so it's easily maneuverable. It's highly portable. And it's 3 times the capacity for long cleaning sessions with fewer interruptions to empty the dust cup. It has this anti-allergen complete seal technology and a HEPA-grade filter to trap dust and allergens inside the vacuum cleaner. So this is pretty cool for allergy people as well. We have one of these Shark Ninja air purifiers at the same time. So with this complete basically system working in this house, it's surprisingly very cool, as my wife is mildly allergic to the cats. So having this and the great suction in the vacuum means we're getting like 99.9% of the hair in here. So it's a huge difference. And considering there's less dust in the air, my Transformers are very thankful for this. And it's also a pretty good price point for a floor vacuum cleaner that also does carpets and hardwood and tile. Honestly, pretty sick. Trust me, if you're moving into a dorm for the first time, moving into a first apartment, this is probably a pretty awesome vacuum cleaner that you should definitely check out. So big thanks to our friends over at that has Shark been yet for sending another this over. wonderful edition of This Week in Geek in the bag. Feels nice to be back on the regular, reporting some interesting news. Got into some very long-form discussion this week. Plus, again, having a wonderful review of Ghost of Yotei, Star Wars Outlaws, and a thing that might be very useful if you live with messy people. And especially considering, some of you are in your first year dorm rooms for the first time, maybe your first apartments. Or, hey, now that fall's coming around, maybe it's time to clean up your apartment, take off the air conditioner, though not for us, at least for another few weeks.
And don't forget, appliances don't last nearly as long as they used to, right? So, maybe it's been 5 years and it's time to get something new.
Yeah, exactly. So I know I am recording some stuff with the boys this week. We're going to try and record the last half of our Resident Evil special. We're doing movies 4, 5, and 6, and then we're going to do a ranking episode. I'm recording on Wednesday with Enrique and James Rolfe. We're going to be doing our memories of Halloween. What makes it special to us? What are some of the good memories we have? A lot more laid back this year, just because everybody's busy. And we haven't really talked about what makes Halloween fun for us. And for me,
it's a good hangout session, I think,
versus
like a formal show.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll find out, because I know I've told the story on the show a couple times, but you'll find out why I put up my Christmas tree on Halloween and why it's a very important tradition that I carry forward now. So that'll be a little bit of a preview. And I know we're recording, me and Aaron and Alex are recording more Future Imperfects. We're doing kind of an evergreen series, which has been really cool. We're looking at the Star Trek movie franchise from all the way to the motion picture, all the way to the end of, unfortunately, Section 31. So we're going to be looking at all these.
I don't know if you can make me watch that again. I got like, I watched it at 1.5 times speed, and like I felt my organs failing. I felt my body getting sick. So
I'm hoping I can find, like, I remember when I watched it the first time, I found some interesting stuff in it, but the problem is it gets glazed over so fast. It's like, can you hang on that for like 2 minutes? Like, don't just give me one line.
Had a better budget and were better written.
Oddly enough. So yeah, we got that cooking. I know we're gonna do some fun stuff between me and Aaron and Alex for Halloween stuff. And then JT's finally going to be coming back. Unfortunately, that has been pushed back because of a Canada Post strike. I was literally going to send him a pair of headphones when Canada Post announced the strike.
Yeah,
so,
and when a courier will cost twice the cost of the headphones.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to Amazon you a shitty pair because I'd love to get JT back on the show.
It's not a bad idea if we can get, a backup pair to him, then he can just hold on to when a good pair shows up.
Yeah, it's just like, I get why Canada Post is fighting. I do, but it's so
I don't
nuanced.
Anymore. I not that I don't support unions. I don't support, based on the transparent numbers that have been released, it's an unsustainable business and they'd be bankrupt within another year. So like literally, this is a situation where the union is fighting for something they can't possibly get. It's literally impossible to pay what they want, because the only way to pay it is to raise taxes to then cover their raises and then cover the losses. It really can't. They're trying to raise their money. They're trying to raise their compensation plus get protections for the amount of hours they have and the people they have, for a business that doesn't exist anymore. We are not a country that does 90% letter mail. We're a country that does like 20% letter mail, and everything else is digital, and they just haven't updated their terms of service for how they employ people. It's unfortunate. Like, you can't make people mail more than what they already are.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. And I feel bad because, like, it's not the workers' fault. It's also, in this case, not the corporation's fault. It's the entire, like, the business has changed. Like, the world business has changed. And they have to find a way to update it without being stubborn. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. I feel bad for everybody involved, because nobody wins in this situation right now.
Yeah, and especially if you rely on the mail to get checks, as me and Alex are both on disability. Some people still get checks.
Confirm there are 2 things that are still running. They are delivering social assistance disability checks, as well as old age security, like old age security checks if you're not already on direct deposit. And they are delivering any live animals that were already within the system.
Yeah, so hopefully things get sorted out, but I'm not optimistic. But anyway,
and I'll say this quickly: the thing that they want to implement is, they want to move to only basically delivering the mail every 3 days instead of Monday to Friday, and then maybe also having like Saturday service, so it would be like every other day mail, and then also
I'm not upset at that.
No, neither am I. They want to increase the letter mail delivery from a guarantee of 1 to 3 days to 3 to 7. That's fine for the mail. Nobody uses the mail for anything critical. If you're sending something critical, you send it via because this is not affecting, we'll say this does not affect, like, the mail delivery to your homes is not affecting the courier delivery. So if you needed to, say, like, have a document signed legally and they needed to express post that to you, they're not fighting to change that like express post day one post, that goes through the parcel service. That delivery standard would still stand. It's just regular letter mail, and then like ground post. They want to switch it so that everything is sent by ground. The other thing is they want to remove it house to house delivery, so it would only go to like community mailboxes at the end of your street. But that wouldn't affect URI because it doesn't include apartments. Apartments would still be delivered to. It's just they don't want to go to individual houses. And then they said for rural areas, there's an argument about it's like, well, if you're only getting one letter to like this little rural town a week, why are you still having to make sure that they guarantee the service? You know what I mean? Like, if you're only going to that town maybe 3 times a month to deliver in the middle of nowhere already, why do you have to have the guarantee that at a short notice you'd have to go there? You know what I mean? It would make more sense to collate it all together. But anyway, there's little things like that. That's what they're fighting over. And then, of course, staffing and all that. But I think it'll work out. I just hope the strike doesn't go on for more than, let's say, this week. Because if we get into another situation where it goes on for a month like last year, and now it's not as close to Christmas as last year, if this happens, they will lose every bit of support they have, and the government might feel emboldened enough that they can union bust. Because last time, when we dragged on to the 4th week as we were getting close to Christmas, the public perception was, it wasn't at the point where they were spitting on the strikers, but it was getting close to them saying "fuck you" to Canada Post, like to the workers. I don't know if the union is blind to it, but they're in a very weird position now where I don't think the public is in their favor overall.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see where this goes. Hopefully it gets resolved quickly because, we've got stuff in the mail. A lot of our stuff that we get for review comes via courier, but some stuff doesn't. And as we get closer into, if this drags on for more than a month, we're entering holiday season territory where it'll be backed up.
Oh, good. So we can look forward to having review stuff show up in March again.
Yeah.
Good time.
I literally had movies that were supposed to have reviews out in the end of November, didn't arrive till the beginning of February.
I mailed stuff for Christmas at the end of November. It didn't arrive at my friend's place till April. And
so
he lives
I
about an
have,
hour and a half away.
I have, oh yeah, I had mailed the card to my grandmother in Ajax, and what would normally be at the most about a 7-day, thing, depending on how packed it was, it took 2.5 months.
Wow.
And I could have literally walked of my own volition there in that time.
Insane.
Like a 2-hour drive, but like I could have walked and camped on the road in half that time.
That's insane stuff. But anyway, guys, so we're not going to bore you with more union talk, but we will be back next week with another exciting show. I know Alex has a review show planned for later on this week. I do have a couple.
Yes. I can say right now the rest of the scheduling for this week is we have an Earth versus Soup coming on the Hunchback of the Morgue from 1972. That's from Aaron and Darlene. We also have a review show where bunch of different indie titles, a few things from you as well. I would say the larger review in there is I have the new Final Fantasy Tactics. It just wouldn't be able to slot it in with the show this week. And then this coming Sunday and every Sunday leading up into Halloween, we have our Halloween specials, our spooky season specials. The first one this weekend is going to be a loose cannon on the Night of the Living Dead 1968 and 1990 movies that we talked about earlier this year in anticipation. We planned for this. And then the following week, we are going to have a Future Imperfect on The Blob and Beware the Blob. And then we've got obviously more stuff coming, as you're saying. But that is what's coming this week. And then, of course, all of our regular programming.
Yeah, so look forward to that. I should have some spooky Halloween movie reviews coming up hopefully soon. I am expecting the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K collection coming from Warner Brothers.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I should see that probably this week, if not next week, because I know some people
Fingers crossed it's FedEx or UPS.
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, guys, a lot of good stuff to come up on the show. So we are going to get out of here. I've got commercials to record. So until next time, we have been
Alex, the producer.
I've been Mike the Birdman saying, be excellent to each other. Please observe Truth and Reconciliation Day tomorrow. Learn a little bit about the Indigenous people of Canada or in your own country. You would be doing me a huge solid, and I would definitely appreciate it. So until next time, folks, we'll catch you next week right here on thisweekingeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
Lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.